الله أكبر الله أكبر.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله الرحمة المهداة والنعمة المزداة على والاه. Now Imam al-Ghazali, now in this segment of the book, he talks about the issue of al-Bughd fillah, disliking someone or disliking a behavior for the sake of Allah SWT. As you love for the sake of Allah, you dislike for the sake of Allah. And here is a question that if you were to see a Muslim and that Muslim who indulge in sins, major sins, committing sins, how you dislike a Muslim? قال فإن قلت كل مسلم فإسلامه طاعة منه فكيف أبغضه مع الإسلام. If a person is Muslims, as a mu'min, as believers, how can I dislike someone after a person said, I submit to Allah SWT? He said, تحبه لإسلامه, you love him for being a Muslim. He says that to love him or her for their Islam, for being Muslim, تحبه لإسلامه وتبغضه لمعصيته, and you dislike them for their disobedience. That means you love them for who they are as a human being. It could be a human or as Muslim. You love the humanity on them, but you dislike their behavior. You cannot say, I will accept a person regardless, whatever they behave. Because you distasting and disliking a behavior is important of helping someone to correct their behavior. You see somebody commit oppression, aggression, injustice against people, and how would you endorse that person? How would you accept that behavior? If someone is abusive, how you accept that abusive behavior? You should not, because by the minute that you accept their abusive behavior, you give them encouragement to continue to be abusive. They must know that someone would dislike what they do. That's why Allah SWT said to Rasulullah, فَبِرَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ. Because of the rahmah of Allah, you were soft with them. وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. Allah SWT put the condition of people liking you. He said, if you were not kind, if you were not gentle with them, you will not see anyone around you. That means as a reaction of someone's behavior, other person react. You react to the misbehavior of someone. And here it's very important in the issue of defining relationship. Sometimes you live in society or community where people says you should not judge people, which is true. You should not pass judgment on people. But you have to acknowledge bad behavior. If somebody in front of me abuse their spouse or abuse another human being, and I say this is abusive behavior, and somebody says, what? You're judging him. What I see is clear to me. It doesn't need for me to make judgment. What I observe is misbehavior. If somebody were to steal somebody, put their hand in somebody's pocket and take money, and I say, you commit theft, you stole someone's money. Somebody said, no, you're judging them. Don't judge them. I said, no, this is not true. A person misbehave, have taken somebody money from their pocket, that's the behavior is not acceptable. Somebody promote violence, extremism, and openly calling people to that, and I make a judgment against them and says, you make an opinion to say, I disagree on somebody saying that taking the life of civilian people and killing people and blowing yourself, and this is wrong. And somebody said, no, you're judging them. I said, no, this is wrong behavior. I have to stand against it. Therefore, you cannot just associate yourself or liking somebody because from your tribe, or because he's Muslim, or because of countryman or countrywoman. Not because of that. This is not a criterion to accept a person's behavior regardless of their behavior because of who they are to relating to you. Quran, for example, says, all those who believe, stand for what is right and for justice, even if it's against yourself or your kinship. Therefore, a person must not to sugarcoat misbehavior and to accept it, to endorse it, because my cousin is doing it, because my tribe is doing it. As the Arab used to say, أنا وأخوي على ابن عمي وأنا ابن عمي على الغريب. He said, me and my brother against my cousin, and me and my cousin against the stranger. It doesn't work that way. Okay. The Sheikh Habib Ali Jeffrey said something very interesting just now in Canada. He said that the hadith says, أنصر أخاك ظالما أو مظلوما. Hadith says, support your brother, stand for your brother, where he is wrong or he's been wronged. Listen, because it's on tape. You have to. Huh? Yeah, but the hadith is not here. The Sahaba didn't ask Rasulullah, say, Ya Rasulullah, we know how to support him or her, in that case, when they have been wronged. But how can we support someone who he wronged others? He said, by stopping them from wronging others. Look at the support here. You support someone by telling them, this is wrong. You cannot be abusive. This is wrong for you to gamble. It's wrong for you to consume riba. It's wrong for you to do that because you want the best for them. But the point he made, Habib Ali, is the word akhaka. And I thought this was a very good insight he made. He says, Ansur akhaka. You call him still your brother, whether your brother in humanity or your brother in Islam. The concept of being your brother or your sister is very important. You tell them, I care about you like my family. You are someone that I care about. And therefore, I'm going to stop you. I ask you to stop from doing the wrong things. Therefore, sometimes we jumped over the word akhaka, which is very important. And that's why Quran says, and that's my adding to this point, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, he mentioned prophets and he says, إِلَى عَادٍ أَخَاهُمْ إيش? Ad, who the prophet sent to Ad? Huh? Hud. أخاهم Hud. Okay? Midian, Shu'aib. Allah says, أخاهم Hudan, أخاهم صالحا, أخاهم لوطا. Although they disagree in belief, but still he called them their brother. Because the concept here from Islamic perspective, that there's a concept of the humanity being in one concept of brotherhood, sisterhood. Meaning that you deal with the fellow human being as a human being.
Yeah, but in the case of Hazrat Nuh, about his son, he said he's not from your Ahl.
From Ahl. Because he says, Idnabni min Ahli. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, we're going to save you and your family. The family Allah meant there, the family of the believer. He's not no longer because he decided not to join. No, laysa min ahlik now. He's not denying the kinship. He's denying the concept of the family being saved, that they followed Nuh alayhi salam. Very interesting though, when Allah attributed the relationship to the belief system, He did not call their brother. Okay? كذب أصحاب الأيكة المرسلين. الأيكة, this is a tree or the place people used to worship. They denied the prophets. إذ قال لهم إيش? Hud. He didn't say أخاهم. Because now he identified them with the ideology of their belief. Therefore, he is not their brother in that belief. You know, it's different now. The relationship is different. That's why he's not called their brother anymore. Okay? Therefore, it is important, and that's why Imam Ali radiallahu said something very powerful. He said, "Al-nas imma akhun laka fi ad-din, aw fi al-insaniyah." He said, humanity, either the brother a brother of yours in faith, or brother of yours in humanity. That's a very revolutionary statement, Imam Ali said. That you have to look to all humanity as such. But in that regard, that you see a behavior of a fellow human being is not acceptable. Three things have to happen. Certain things that a person have authority to change with their own hand, authority, legal authority. A person have to have a legal authority to do so. If he doesn't have legal authority, he should not do that, not touch it. For example, if I see one of my daughters hitting the other daughter, I have to go physically separate them, because I have the legal authority and moral responsibility. يغيره بيده. There are certain things you speak against only. You can make a speech to create awareness. يغيره بلسانه. There are certain things you don't have the ability to say anything about it, nor you move it with your hand. You should dislike it in your heart. No one should love injustice. That's why Imam Ghazali said, البغض في الله. No one should accept injustice in their heart. You should distaste it, should dislike it, should hate it. Because being neutral about it is not acceptable. Because the nature of human being is they love what is good. They love what is good in their heart. Okay? Therefore, if somebody will love a dictator or love a tyrant who killed many people, for example, look at what happened in the Holocaust, or what happened in Bosnia, what happened in Rwanda, what happened in all of these places where there's a massacre. If you accept that, you say, okay, those people, they don't have done anything wrong. They're okay what they have done. Or you have feeling toward them. Or you like them. Yeah, if you do that, then something wrong with me. I tell you an example from Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saw one of his companions hitting a young man physically. And that was Ibn Mas'ud. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam from far never used to scream. Therefore he shouted sallallahu alayhi wa sallam from far to project his voice louder. He spoke loudly to him from far, saying, يعني تذكر قدرة الله عليك لا قدرتك على الغلام. He said, remember the power of Allah over you, not your power over the young person. Mas'ud said, رضي الله عنه, said, I couldn't recognize the voice because the voice seemed like very upset, someone very upset. He said, I look فإذا هو رسول الله. The person's talking to me is Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, after that, I never put my hand on anyone human being. I never abuse anyone. I never hit any human being. Because Rasul said so. Okay? A woman said to her camel, she camel, he said, if you like to remove the, I don't know what the table is here, but if you like to remove it, you have. Thank you. Rasulullah said to a woman that cursed her camel and said to the camel, my curse of Allah be on you, la'anik Allah. To the camel, she camel. You know what Rasulullah said? You have to set the camel free because you cursed it. لا تصحبنا الناقة ملعونة. Made her let go of the camel because she cursed the camel. Therefore, you don't accept the behavior, abusive behavior. You don't accept the disobedience of Allah SWT. There's something very important in this issue of obedience, disobedience. You know, many people get desensitized of sins. And there's a danger of socializing where people committing sin. Some people say, I go to a nightclub but I don't drink. I don't do anything wrong. I just go because I just want to chat with people and this kind of. I said, are you telling me that you go there and you are comfortable enough that if Allah will take your soul, you will be happy being taken your soul being there? عايز ملك الموت ياخذ روحك? You take your soul in the wrong place? He said, no, أعوذ بالله, I don't want to die there. I said, this is the criterion. Any place where you say, I know I'm in a situation not good, that if my soul being taken now, I will not be happy with it, then you get out of there. Get out of there. Khalas. Would you be able to face Allah being in that place? If it's not, exit. Desensitization from sins have 3 levels. First, a person, when he hears it, he does not ring a bell negatively. It becomes like a vocabulary, like a something. For example, the word lottery. Muslims have used the word lottery all the time, even in khutbah. He said, if you wanted the lottery or something like that, or money, what do you mean lottery? You're making an assumption that person who's sitting you in khutbah, listening to you, can go and play lottery? Lottery is gambling. إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه إنما يريد الشيطان أن يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر وصدكم عن سبيل عن ذكر الله وعن الصلاة فهل أنتم منتهون. Allah SWT says this gambling, alcohol, and so forth, the رجس من عمل الشيطان. How can person get desensitized of gambling? Gambling is wrong. There's no way around it. Gambling is wrong. Therefore, a person gets desensitized from that. The other thing is that the rating of movies. A person goes and knows the movie is rated R. And sometimes read in advance, there will be bad scenes in the movie. Rated R. And a person yet sit and watch all the bad scenes as well. How that be? Person get desensitized. The other issue, because I said because of the people hearing things and they become comfortable with the terminology and the vocabulary. The second aspect of it is a person doesn't want to disappoint someone during the committing of a sin. Therefore they go and the person said, come with me, do this, and so. You don't have to do it yourself. I'm smoking the weed, but you can be sitting there. I just want to talk to you, A person said, many young teenagers, they told me, I went with them because I was just socializing. Then I was caught into it. Because it was desensitized first, and then you become familiar with it, and then one day you say, well, try it. The third is an inability to get out of it. What do I mean by that? After a person been socializing and start doing it, then he become in this cycle of a social commitment. And the people do commit themselves socially always to the wrong things. They commit themselves, but to the wrong things. How many times did you find yourself committing socially to something that is not good? And you say, I don't know how to say no to this. I don't know how to stop this. I don't know how to do this, But it's wrong to be done. So Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah says something here very important, which is the issue of feeling. It's something about the heart and the mind. You have to go between them. If you work on your heart, feeling-wise, your mind become understanding that. Or you work on your mind on the issues and then impact your heart. But Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah says, the feeling of likening sometimes might take place, although the mind says what? Says wrong. You fall in love with something and your mind says wrong. That means you have to work where? You have to use your mind to work on your heart. To say, SubhanAllah, how comes I have a feeling of this? How comes I accepting this? How comes I feel positive? How comes no, until you're disliking it. And that's why Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he said to Umar radiallahu anhu, he said, I love you, Rasulullah, with everything except myself. I love myself more than I love you. For Rasul did not accept that from him. قال لا يا عمر. Then Umar radiallahu anhu said, now I love you more than I love myself. You ask yourself, How that happened? Rasulullah appealed now to the heart of Umar radiallahu anhu. Because Rasulullah, we have to love Rasulullah more than loving ourselves. How that? Is that possible? To love someone more than you love yourself? But this you have to put it in the context. What is self? There's two types of self. One of them, the self that go against the self, and the other, the self that benefit the self. Not to complicate the situation. You have two I. When you say I, the physical I and the spiritual I. The physical I may goes against the spiritual I, but the spiritual I, the one that was later will save the physical I. How? الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يكون هواه تبعا لما جئت به. No one become a believer unless his or her desire it become in compliance with what I brought forth, which is the Sirat al-Mustaqim said path. This belief system that you love the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ more than you love yourself actually makes you to realize of oneself. You become discovering of oneself. Because the oneself that loves Rasulullah more than love itself, it really recognizes that the real self is the spiritual self. When you say I, you are a spiritual being. That's what it meant by this. But sometimes, say a person, the doctor said don't eat sugar. Don't use sugar. You are diabetic, don't use sugar. Then you desire that you see the cake, and he says, I want to have a piece of it. A person take the cake and eat it, and then the sugar goes up. And they go to the hospital. The doctor said what? He said, I saw the cake, I couldn't resist it. What that feeling that come from, not resisting the cake?
Heart.
It comes from your heart. Okay. What your mind says though, I should not have done it. But when a person gets sick, go to the hospital, they wish they have not done it. What is telling them? What makes them feeling bad?
Mind.
The mind? The heart again. Because the mind said don't do it. A person desired. Now you're getting sick. You're feeling bad, saying what? The feeling you didn't like, you dislike the cake. You said, I wish I have not eaten it. But that's a feeling too, strong feeling now. A person now give it, the same person who's sick in the hospital, laying down in bed, and maybe vomiting, but somebody said, oh, by the way, the cake, the rest of the cake is still here. Would they eat it? Now, feeling-wise, they distance themselves. The desire is no longer there. Therefore, when a person loves Rasulullah with all their heart, Rasulullah wants the best for us. And therefore, when you love Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the model, the example of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his interest, of serving us is better than the interest that we have for ourselves to go after our whims and desires. And therefore, when you love Rasulullah with your heart, something amazing happened to us. We have rise to the occasion. We become spiritually connected, and then we become more aware of our self-interest than ever before. And therefore, spirituality is about self-awareness, about self-realizations, to realize who you are, and you put things in perspective. And that's why a person who has ability to control one desire and whims is the strongest person, even if physically they're weak. And that's why Rasulullah, for example, says, ليس الشديد بالسرعة. It is not the strong person who have muscles and can bring people down and wrestle with people. ولكن الشديد الذي يملك نفسه عند الغضب. The strongest person is a person controlling themselves when they're angry. That's very important. Why? Because controlling emotions is one of the most difficult things humans do. Desire, feeling, emotions, that's the most difficult aspect of it. Regulating our feeling and emotions is one of the most difficult exercises we can go through. That's why this love and bughd is very important elements. feeling positive, loving, or disliking is always important for us to regulate our feeling. And therefore, if I love my child, and my child said, I want chocolate before I go to bed, and I said, no, you cannot have the chocolate. Trust me, I'm using my mind, but my child is crying. My heart, like, I want to please them. I give them a hug. You do other things to try to comfort the child, because your heart really, you know the mothers, your heart really you wanted to comfort the child. And so you know why the parents give up? Sometimes they give the chocolate, because he tests the father and the mother sometimes. And the father comes and said to the mother, or the father or mother said to the father, just give him a little bit of the chocolate, just for tonight, because they couldn't take it that the child is crying, but they're using their heart, not their mind. They know that it's not good for them to go to sleep like that, because high sugar and so forth. And until you discipline yourself to say, no, I know later they will know that's good for them. I know I'm doing the best for them. And therefore, even if they keep crying, I will still try to comfort them other ways, but I'm not going to give up and give them the chocolate. And the child gets used to it. وهكذا النفس. كما قال البصيري in البردة, he said, والنفس كالطفل. He said the nafs like a child. If you win it, it will win. But if you continue giving it what you're giving it, it continue to take it. Okay? If Fatimi, that means Fatim means to be weaned. Therefore, you have to wean yourself. And weaning oneself sometimes you might dislike it in the beginning. But if a person will understand the benefit of it, then he will like it. Therefore, you give it the child, when you wean them from being nursed, what do for the replacement? Water, solid food. You give them solid food, you give them other food. That means when we wean ourselves from something, you have to replace it with something, because we're a human being. When you love Allah SWT more than you love yourself, actually the love comes back to yourself. When a person does not love the haram, then a person must train themselves to love the halal. It's not just taking one feeling. There's no vacuum. The human being like a bottle. If there's no water on it, there's air. Something has to be filled. Nature does not like vacuum. Therefore, it has to be something replacing that feeling. And therefore, Imam al-Ghazali rahmahullah talking about al-hubbu fillah wal-bughd fillah. You love something for the sake of Allah, and you dislike something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, you love someone because they're human, you love the humanity in them, but you dislike in their behavior. قال فكيف يمكن إظهار البغض? How do you express disliking of something? فأقول إما في القول فبكف اللسان عن مكالمته ومحادثته. مرة he said sometimes you might make a statement to say to someone, the way that you're talking to your parents, you've been very abusive to them, using the wrong language with them. I'm not going to keep talking to you unless you correct your behavior with your parents. If a person values that friendship, say, I'm not going to lose my friendship. My friend taking his stand, he's not accepting the way I'm talking to my parents or abusing my parents. That is a stand. Or you correct them to say, what you're doing is wrong. Keep reminding them. Okay? For what is the person is doing wrong. A person committing injustice, a person, as I said before, can correct that verbally. He said also, you don't have any material support for injustice. If somebody committing violence, a person should not ever support them materially in any form or shape. By supporting them materially, a person has participated in that. They call it in America in the law of material support. You know? Therefore, you don't do that. Okay? The Imam al-Ghazali says, أما بالفعل فبقطع السعي في إعانته مرة وبالسعي في إساءته فساد مآربه مرة أخرى. He said that a person one time you stop supporting a person from committing injustice, and also to stop the plot or the wrongdoing of someone. Therefore, the one of the problem that sometimes we have is how to draw the line between correcting someone and respect their privacy, and you go public. When you draw the line, and listen to this carefully. Somebody come and confide to me and says, I have this and that. I should not ever violate the confidentiality of that person. Because that person come and confide to me, I cannot go and talk about them publicly. But the person in public office made a bad decision. You can disagree with the king, the president of the United States, or something like that, say, I disagree with you on this. This policy, I don't think is the right policy. Or a mayor of a city, or a city council person. You can make a stand because of public policy. Somebody come and tell me, for example, say X or Y confined in someone. And a person come to me and said, I just want to tell you something. This person is bad, blah, 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 blah. I said, why are you saying that? He said, he confined it to me. I said, that is wrong for you to tell me. You should correct them and work on them. They didn't allow you to come and tell me. You know? But if somebody come and asks for someone's daughter, listen to this carefully. Or somebody seeking a public office, and somebody come and says, what do you think, or seeking an office, said, what do you think, should I hire this person? If this person worked with me and embezzled money, I have to disclose that. I said, this has happened, but I don't know, maybe he changed his mind, maybe he become a better person, but that happened in the past. Because that person will be in charge of people's money. Somebody come and ask my daughter hand, or somebody else asks me about somebody who has asked the daughter hand, and I know this person has been abusive to their ex-wife, and put her in jail, or put her in the prison, or put her in the hospital, sorry. Then I have to be able to say, you know, maybe you need to check the record. With the exception of imams, I just want to tell you, the imam have very sensitive situation. The imam, if they were to tell about every case to somebody who asks, then it become a wrong place for people to come, to confine. The imam can say, go and do your due diligence. Ask about this person more. That's it. Because it could be an issue in some aspect. But if a person knows there's abusive, that somebody threatens somebody's life, it become an obligation for you to tell so. Okay? To say that. Now, but he says there's certain problem that people may have, that if a person is open with the sin, if a person is open with the sin, he said, oh, I don't care. I'm going to just do it publicly. He said, therefore, Imam Ghazali says, there's no privacy in this issue. A person openly doing it, then you say to your son or to your daughter, I don't like you to socialize with that child, or with this person, or that person, because of the behavior they have. That's absolutely correct. Nothing wrong with that. He said, not doing so, you're doing disservice to your children and to that person as well, because they know that the behavior has been accepted. That you cannot do that. طيب قال وإذا لم تتأكد أخوه الصحبة فلا بد من إظهار أثر البغض، أما في الإعراض والتباعد عنه، وقلت الالتفات إليه وأما في الاستخفاف وتغليظ القول عليه وهذا أشد من الإعراض وهو بحسب بغض المعصية وخفتها وكذلك في الفعل أيضا رتبتان. He says that it depends what kind of relationship you have with the person. If a person you're kin, say if a person, his parents, they commit shirk, kufr, a person should cut relationship with them or no?
What was the question there?
If a person, their parents, they openly, they say God does not exist, and they keep their child, said, why you believe in God? That person should cut the relationship with their parents or no? No. No. You see, there's a line there. You dislike the behavior. You dislike what they say to you. But still you continue to take care of them because parents have different status in Islam. وإن جاهداك على أن تشرك به ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما. If they ask you to commit shirk, to commit kufr, لا تطعهما, don't obey them. Does the ayah stop there? No. وصاحبهما في الدنيا معروفا. But continue to take care of their physical needs. Provide food for them. Provide shelter for them. Although they have that kind of belief system. Subhanallah. And that's why Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he married Habiba. Habiba, her mother was not a believer. She come to visit her. She said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, my mother, you know, she's not, she doesn't believe. And not only that, she's an enemy of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. She come to visit me. Should be kind to her? Should I be kind to her? He said, yes, be kind to her. Continue to be kind to her. Because parents is a special case. Nothing like being parent. What a beautiful thing about Islam. That the relationship of parents, it is the high priority. No matter what gone wrong, it's still وَصَحِّهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. Be kind to them. Okay. قال he said, if you see somebody, you commit a sin, if you are able to help them to get out of the sin, it's better than cut them off. That's very important though. Because sometimes people, they go the easy route. You see somebody addicted to something. The easy route does what? I have nothing going to do with you. That's it, cut you off. He said, no. The better thing is to say, I want you to help to get out of this. Let us try treatment. Let me take you for therapy. Let me do this and that. They help the person to get out of the sin rather than say, I'm going to leave you alone. That's what Rasulullah said to the Sahaba radallahu alayhim. When the man drank alcohol and the Sahaba cursed him, Rasulullah said, don't curse him. Still he loves Allah and his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. لا تعينوا الشيطان على أخيكم. Don't support shaitan against your brother. By doing that, there's some parents make a wrong decision by cutting off the child immediately. The child misbehaves, said what? Get out of here. You really throw them into what? Into more vulnerability. You need first to try to bring the child in. To help the child. Like Nuh alayhi salam. Until last minute he said what? Ya bunay yarkab ma'ana, ya bunay yarkab ma'ana, ya bunay yarkab ma'ana. Join us. Come. The son made a decision and said, no, I'm not going to do that. Sa'awi ila jabal. Sometimes this teenager behavior. I know better than my parents. What they know, they speak heavy accent. They don't understand anything. I know how to use electronic and, you know what I mean, I'm more sophisticated than them. I'm more savvy. And therefore they put their parents down and said, Sa'awi ila jabalin ya'simun min al-ma. I know sport. I know how to climb mountains. Dad, you are an old fashioned, you know. You worried about the waves and water? Don't you know that I'm very fit? سأوي إلى جبل يحصون الماء. I'm going to climb a mountain that protect me from the water. What the father said? لا عاصم اليوم من أمر الله. Son, don't fool yourself. I know you know how to tweet. I know how you use your Facebook. I know that you're very savvy in texting. I know that you know, but this I know it very well. Don't fool yourself. لا لا. فحاط به الموت. The son drowned because he did not listen to his parents. You know how many times I went to the facilities, a juvenile prisons, and I asked a young person, 14, 15, 16, what brought you here? You know, most of the repeated answer is what? I did not listen to my parents. I dismissed the advice of the elder. I thought my friend had my back. I was hanging with the wrong crowd. I looked for the wrong support system. I confined into people I should not have confined into. I gave my heart to wrong individuals. I rely on wrong people. Hello? But it was too late. Because they lack al-hub fillah wal-bughd fillah. They don't understand what want to love for the sake of Allah, when you dislike for the sake of Allah. They mix it together. Whatever they were supposed to dislike for the sake of Allah, they start loving people for it. And whatever they're supposed to love people for it, they dislike them for it. For they dislike the people who ask them to pray. They dislike they hate the people who ask them to be in the Sirat al-Mustaqim. They hated those people, and they start loving what? The wrong thing. And that's why the people in hellfire said what? وَقَالُوا يَا مَالِكْ لَيَقْضِي عَلَيْنَا رَبُّكَ. They said to Malik on the hellfire, said, oh Malik, ask Allah to have to die. We want to die. قَالَ إِنَّكُمْ مَاكِثُونَ. No. You're not going to be able to leave this. Why? لَقَدْ جِئْنَاكُمْ بِالْحَقِّ. We brought you the truth. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَكُمْ لِلْحَقِّ كَارِهُونَ. Most of you hated the truth. You hated the haqq. That's why you're here. Therefore, a person must not use the feeling that Allah gave them to the wrong place. I asked the young people, when they said, I love that person so much, that's why I listened to them. Brother, I could have done anything for them, that's why I end up in jail. I said, what? I said, why? Why you give your heart to someone? I said, I don't know. You surrender the heart to somebody that does not deserve it. I said to them, the heart is an organ that Allah put in my chest and your chest. The feeling of liking, disliking, Allah gave me that feeling. How can I misplace it? How can you misplace the love that Allah, the feeling of love Allah gave you, start loving other than Allah? Allah is the one who put the feeling. No one else. Can it be misutilized? And that's why one of the most important aspects of this issue of self-discipline, a person must every day review where their feeling is about things, where their heart is. Listen to this, I will conclude the class with it. Isn't Allah says, عسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو إيش؟ وهو شر لكم وعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وإيش؟ وهو خير لكم والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون. Amazing verse. Allah says, perhaps you might have loved something and it's not good for you. It's not good for you. You love it so much, but it's not good for you. And you might dislike something and it's what? And it's good for you. Why? Because Allah knows and you don't. Therefore, a person has to align their love with Allah loves. They align the disliking with Allah dislike. And this exercise that I said so many times at Adam Center, I will repeat it one more time. Go and review all the verses in the Quran where Allah says, Allah yuhib, Allah loves those. يحب المحسنين, يحب المتقين. Create a list. Create a list where Allah said, I don't like this. I don't love this. لا يحب كل مختال فخور. لا يحب المسرفين. لا يحب المتكبرين. He doesn't like arrogant people. He doesn't like people who transgress. He doesn't like people who have so much pride. Make a list and says, I will love what Allah loves. I will dislike and hate what Allah hates and dislike. That's it, a list. And that's why a person aligns their feeling. Realigns their feeling, because sometimes we put our love in the wrong place. And that will become judgmental for all of us. I would like to stop here. I will conclude, inshallah, next Monday of this chapter of Al-Bughd Fillah. So they will go to the next chapter. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت، عافنا فيمن عافيت، تولنا فيمن توليت، اكفنا شر ما قضيت، إنك تقضي بالحق ولا يقضى عليك. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم توفنا مسلمين والحقنا بالصالحين. نقي قلوبنا الغل والحسد والمن والرياء وملأ بحبك وحب رسولك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعبادك الصالحين. اللهم لا تجعل الشيطان سبيلا إلينا يا رب العالمين. اللهم اصلح فساد قلوبنا، اللهم اصلح فساد قلوبنا، اللهم ردنا إليك ردا جميلا. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم، وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام الحمد لله. جزاكم الله خير.
الله أكبر الله أكبر